All right, welcome back, everyone. I got two rock stars in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania real estate market. I got Kevin and Dr. Leslie. So welcome.
Hey, thanks for
Hey,
having us.
thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, so I reached out to you folks. I saw you guys. You have a YouTube channel, Real Estate Brew. I love what you guys are putting out there. So why don't you guys give my audience a little backstory on your folks selves?
All right,
Want to kick us up? We do that a lot. You can
all right,
start, babe.
I'll start us off. Me and my wife, we're Pittsburgh investors in the Pittsburgh area. We actually started in real estate in
21.
2021. We bought our first property, but we had actually started the journey in 2020. And we didn't have a way to go, right? We paid a person, what, $150.
Oh, yeah. So before that, we were putting offers on. We kept getting outbid, kept being afraid to move forward.
Analysis paralysis.
Yeah, analysis paralysis. We found one that we thought was the deal. It was like this large block of townhomes, and this investor was selling like not all 19 for really, really discounted prices. We had taken out a personal like cash loan, like to purchase it. Our offer was accepted.
Yeah.
And then an investor from out of state came in and they were like, "Oh, we'll buy the whole thing." So our contract got canceled. So we were like, "We're doing something wrong. Somebody needs to help us."
Yep.
So we ended up paying 150 for, oh my God, Otis.
Yes.
His name Otis?
Yes, Otis.
Yeah, Otis. Fortunately, knew his last name, so I could give him a shout out. But we for 30 minutes of his time, just to see. It was around the time where Clubhouse was really popular, and everybody was talking about real estate on Clubhouse. So Otis James had a room on Clubhouse, and he did consultations 30 minutes for 150. So we talked with him, and he was telling us all about hard money and private money, and we had no clue what any of that was.
Yep. And my wife, being who she is, she started looking on YouTube and she found a woman named April Crossley.
Yeah.
And she started talking about private money and how to access it and how to find it. And lo and behold, she had a Facebook page for Lazy Girl REI. Leslie joined, and then like maybe 2 months later, she did what she used to do was a 5-day challenge for rookie investors, and we joined the 5-day challenge. We got a lot out of it, and then she announced after the 5-day challenge she was starting coaching that December. That was 2021, and we were thinking like, should we invest in ourselves or and get a coach, or should we just continue what we're doing, trying to muddle through the weeds? So we said we're going to invest in ourselves. We talked to April. We're like, can we get a property, one property,
By the end of the year.
by the end of the year? And she said, absolutely. If you do what I teach you, you follow my strategy, you're going to get a property by the end of the year, right? So we said, yes, let's do it.
Pregnant.
We were pregnant with our son,
First
baby Trip, and by the end of 2022, we had 10 doors. 11, my bad. 11 doors.
Well, let's back up a little bit. You said 2020 you started. It wasn't like the world shutting down and things were just crazy. Like, what made you guys jump into real estate at that time?
So when I say we started in 2020, I would definitely say we were in that analysis paralysis stage. So we had like formed an LLC and we're have started looking at properties, putting offers in. But I think it was because there was so much extra time, and a lot of people are talking about real estate and wholesaling, and the market's hot. And as 2020 was like ending, the Pittsburgh market, like many others, was getting super crazy. Like
Yeah, it was getting
properties were
booming.
selling like super high, $30,000 over asking price, sight unseen. And we're like, we need to get in there. We need to be doing it. We need to be a part of this.
Yeah, and that's kind of what happened. And 2021, it just kind of like started really coming to a head for us, to where we started to, like, 2022, we just got right in.
So right now, how many doors do you have?
26 and counting.
Man, you scaled pretty quickly. I mean, so how did you folks do that starting? Like you said, in the beginning you had no capital really, and all of a sudden now you have 26 doors. And how'd you guys get there so quickly?
Number one,
Private money.
and a coach.
And our coach. Oh yeah, our coach.
First and foremost, you got to get a coach. I think that for any new investor, whether you have no experience, if you have no experience, the best thing you can do is get a coach. And the reason why I say that is because they're going to help you with the pitfalls. They're going to help you figure out like what way to go, what way not to go. They're going to tell you when there's a pit in front of you.
They're going to tell you when this is actually a terrible idea, terrible deal. Don't do it.
Walk away, run.
Yeah. So that, and we use private money, because our coach taught private money for all of our deals. So we had very, very minimal capital.
What's private money, babe?
So true private money, like an individual who like has money from equity in their home, or like an SDIRA or retirement, where they could get a better return often with real estate. So super thankful for all the private money lenders that trusted us and gave us a chance, because we wouldn't have been able to scale without that, because we had a lot of like assets that had liquidity. Like we had some equity in our home and like credit cards. But we didn't have a ton of liquid cash. So
and we had that loan we got.
Yeah.
That we put up to, and that was actually more of our liquidity. It helped us, really get to where we're right now.
Which is important, because we had a lot of projects that we had to pull some of that liquidity that we had out. So
yeah.
You two seem to have this great chemistry going on. And I mean, is that something, because I mean, it feels like a lot of times you see people, one person is in it, they want to do the real estate thing and they have to like convince the other one to get involved. Has that been the struggle you folks face, or is kind of like you both are on the same page, you think?
We've always been on the same page, actually, Mark. Man, honestly, the funny thing about us is like, we just like, if I say I have an idea, unless she hears it, she's like, she starts thinking about it. She's like, well, we can make this work. We can do this. And then it happens. Or she says she has an idea, like our commercial mortgage company that we have, brokerage, or commercial mortgage brokerage company we have, 3 Acres Funding. She came up with the idea. She presented it to me. And I was like, well, we can make that work. And then like we just birthed these businesses out of that, right? So that's kind of how it happens for us. We just kind of trust each other, and just like, if we have a vision, if one of us has a vision, we just follow through with it and just go with it. And we put our energy into it together. And and if things go wrong, we don't blame the other for the idea. We just say, we'll get through it. We'll figure it out. Let's keep pushing. There's always a way out.
The one thing we always try to go by, just in general in our marriage, but also it trickles into real estate, is, we're spiritual people. We pray a lot. And so we always say, if we don't have peace about something, both of us, we don't move forward.
No
matter how excited one of us is for the deal, the numbers are singing and glorifying. If we both don't feel peace, then we just don't do it.
We walk away.
How do you guys incorporate like roles? I mean, do you folks have like, set, like, Kevin takes care of certain things, Leslie takes certain things. Like, how do you guys work that out?
So I say this, I do more the front end. I'm the people facing. I do contracting part. I help the contractors, talk to contractors. I see all the properties. I handle the property management, where Leslie does all the back end, right? She handles our lenders. She handles the refinancing. She handles the bills when we paying rents, or I mean, not rents, but paying like, anything, right? Like, electric, gas, water. She handles that, where I do more taxes, bookkeeping. So she does some like, like a restaurant. I'm front house. She's back house.
And we intertwine when we need to, but I think both of us, those are our strong points for the both of us. So we try to own that part.
My wife is a systems queen. She's a systems like
a t-shirt.
Yeah, systems queen. She uses systems like no other. Me, I'm not that. So I have to conform to her a lot to make sure I'm hitting the markers for systems. I've never been a systems person, except when I have a job I need to be systems, and that's rare.
So do you folks like, how do you like maybe intertwine the personal relationship side and the business side? I mean, like it's got to be busy, I mean, doing real estate, lending. Like, how do you guys balance it all?
I think it is hard to balance sometimes.
It is.
Kevin still has a 9-to-5 job. We have a son. I have a business outside of real estate. So I think we just try to be respectful of when one of us needs a break. Because we both work from home. We're really ingrained in all of this together all day, and there are hard conversations in real estate. A project will get delayed. We'll have an issue with a business partner. Those aren't fun conversations to have. I have like more gray hair than I've ever had before from the last few months. But I think if one of us says like, I need a break, I can't talk about real estate right now, or let's not talk about real estate on this date night or for the rest of the night. Just being receptive to that, no matter how much the other one wants to proceed in that conversation. And then I will also say, you know, as unfortunately our daughter passed away a few months ago, and we got into couples therapy for that, just for healing. But naturally, business comes up a lot, and I actually think that's one of the healthiest things we've done for our business.
Yeah.
Is being in therapy, to be able to talk about constructive ways to have difficult conversations, or being respectful if one person's burnt out, when to lean in, how to respectfully hold somebody accountable. So that's been really helpful too.
And I will say this, we still date.
Yes.
Like we make a continual effort to date. Like date night for us is Friday night, right? We put our son to bed, we eat dinner, whatever we want to do, or we have somebody to watch our son and we go out and have a night on the town, right? Because it is so important to continually date your spouse, because when we're partners, it's always conversations about, work and tenants and toilets, right? So we don't want to have that conversation during date night. Date night is no phones, me and her having a good time, whatever that is.
Is there so there's no business talk date
None.
night? Oh,
No.
Sometimes we have to remind each other, like, hey, it's date night.
okay.
Yeah.
Because it inevitably creeps in.
Right. It absolutely does. And then we also she also has her own other business she runs that I'm like a contractor underneath. She has a recruiting business that she has, Salty Careers, right? Recruiting, consulting, and she also does job help, right? With that company. And so when she's doing her business development or biz dev for that company, we do not talk about 3 acres. We don't talk about E&K or real estate. We don't talk about none of that. That's specifically focused for her business that she has, that she's trying to grow, and she's working on growing.
I love that. So are you seeing a lot of out-of-state investors reach out to you folks and work with you? Like because it seems that you can help them on the lending side, the property acquisition. So is there a lot of out-of-state investors reaching out to you folks?
Right now,
No,
most of them are in Pittsburgh. Most
Yeah.
of them are in our network. We try to, much I joke about hating networking and Kevin being the face. We try to go to events, and I think all of our clients up to this point have either come from our direct network of investors or referrals from those investors.
And what's network, baby?
Network?
Yeah, what's network? Network is your what?
Net worth.
Yeah, network is your net worth. So that's why it's always important to network, right? So because we network so much, we were able to get connected with other investors, other people who have aspirations of being investors, and we're able to help them process and get to where they want to get in real estate.
What is maybe like one advice you could give maybe, someone that they want to get into real estate, but their spouse is not on board? Is there something like advice you could give them to maybe help get that message across, or how would you kind of go about that?
That's a good question. I would just ask a question like, do you have kids? Because think about this in real estate, right? Real estate is slow money. And now I'm just gonna be very transparent here. It's slow money, especially the way we buy. We use the BRRRR strategy. We only get maybe 200 a door, sometimes 150 a door, right? So when people hear we got 26 stores, just think, oh man, they're rich. They got a lot of money. Well, we might only be making $100 to $200 on that door. You do the math. And then don't forget, we still got a mortgage. So no, actually, the money from door, you don't have the mortgage to worry about, but we still have other expenses, right? We still have to pay taxes on the money. We still have other things, bookkeepers. We have things to keep the business running, right? Think of it as a long game, because this is money for my son. This is money for our children, because my son, who's be 2 in July, our son is going to benefit from our 26 doors far more than we are. It's the long game for this. When this house is paid off 30 years from now, these houses are paid off 30 years from now, my son get a better benefit from it than I ever will.
I would also ask, I think it's really hard. I would assume it would be really hard to be in a real estate business, partnered with somebody who didn't fully believe in the vision. And so I think it's just asking well, what's your hesitancy, and seeing how you might be able to get them on board with that answer. So maybe it's they're worried about time, or they're worried about debt. So making them educated on, using other people's money for financing and being able to delegate things out or partnering with other investors that can do the pieces that we might not have time for. I think understanding why they're hesitant is important because I do think that you both have to have that vision for it to be its best.
Absolutely. I mean, vision's the key, right? And whoever has the vision, you got to catch hold of that vision.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't catch hold of that vision with your spouse, then you're blind.
I love it. It seems that you folks are having a lot of fun doing this together also. And I think that's, your YouTube channel. I find it a lot of enjoyment. You guys are going back and forth. Even
Thank you.
one of your more recent videos, you guys kind of, I think it was the peaks and pits. And then you guys were talking about this triplex you guys just got. And, there's just so much like just honesty there, right? You're talking about mistakes you've made and how you're trying to be conservative. So maybe kind of talk about that little deal that you guys kind of put out there on YouTube.
So that deal, we just had a trip, didn't we? We just had our son, he was like 2 months old, and we found the deal on the MLS.
It's a heck of a deal.
Heck of a deal. And we were like, we lowballed it a little bit, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we did.
So we got it for 67, right? Or
I
65.
We got it between 65 and 72. Everything's blending right now.
Yeah, we
got it for a good deal.
Yeah, we got it for a good deal, and we walked through it. We fell in love with it.
It was cupcakey, so
it looked cupcakey.
It looked like it didn't need a lot of work, like just maybe some new carpet, maybe some paint, kitchen,
and get it rented out, right? No. It was not that cupcakey as we thought it was going to be. We had some pits in this one, right? As we said, peaks and pits. So one of the pits was that we had to replace a stack. We're still having issues with. We
replumb the whole building.
Replumbed the whole building. We went over on the deal. Obviously, we had to rebuild the whole back deck. Emergency escape. It was a lot with this deal.
And we were still. So we bought that in
October?
August.
Was it October or August?
I think we bought it in August. I think we bought it in like August or I don't know. So think about that. We joined that coaching program in December 2021. We bought our first property in April of 22. And then we bought this one a year later. So even though like a year had passed, we were still newer. So
a year. Was it?
What I think no, it was a few months later. I think it was October.
Yeah, it was October.
It was October. I was freshly had a new baby, so the dates are
so that was 2022. So our son is like literally like maybe 4 months.
Yeah, and so we were still technically rookies, and so there were even little things like we weren't asking. We had a great relationship with the contractor, so we weren't asking for change orders like in writing, things like that. So those things cost us money, cost us time. And those are things I would
and it was delays.
For sure.
We had many delays on that project. It was crazy. It was supposed to be finished. We got it in October. It was supposed to be done in January, and it wasn't done until March.
Mm-hmm.
Because of like again winter months, like we were talking before we got on the call. Winter months in Pittsburgh can be difficult, and people don't want to work a lot of times when the holidays are coming up. So it was a lot of
had that huge freeze last
year.
Yeah. But you probably are
2023
also.
Yeah,
2022, I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the property managers that I think same thing. Like in the beginning of my journey, they were talking about winterizing my properties, and I was just like what does that mean? Like I was like, what are you talking about? We don't have that in Hawaii, but yeah.
Yeah, so just I definitely think we learned a lot of first lessons on budgeting and working with contractors, and
it was a lot of lessons in this one. The cool thing about this deal is that we were conservative, right?
Yeah.
April teaches us to be conservative with your numbers, right? You never go in and go at the top end of what you think the ARV is going to be. You go in as be conservative with it. So the property actually appraised for 420.
Mm-hmm.
We bought it for 67, 72. Put about 80 in it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we put about 80 in it, and it came back at a appraised value of 420.
So we got a ton of equity, and that was actually a nice time because it allowed us to pay off some debt that we were accumulating because we were scaling so quickly. We were having to put stuff on credit card here, credit card there. So that was, I don't know, when people first talked about the BRRRR strategy, I thought it was a ridiculous idea to take equity out of your property and get less cash flow. But that equity is nice when you're scaling to be able to have that, to pay off debt to put into the next project. So even though there were a lot of lessons, that was definitely my favorite deal.
Yeah, mine too. I like
Yeah.
Jane too. Our first house, our first single family. That
That
came
was
out
a
pretty
good
cool
one.
too.
Yeah, so it seems that you guys are doing great. I mean, you guys are, like you said, you're branching out to lending. You guys are at 26 stores, I believe you said. But what is your guys maybe shared goals and aspirations, for the growth of your guys' business and company?
So I always say my goal, outside of like having family protected, safe, we can, have a roof over our head, do fun things, travel. I always say occupational
Fictional freedom.
freedom. Yeah. Because I don't ever anticipate being in this world and not wanting to do any work. It's just not who I am. I find there's fulfillment in doing cool projects and taking on new things. But I think it's super dope to have the ability to choose when and how you want to do that. So I think our financial freedom number is like 55 doors, and that's where both of us, like our previous salaries. I left my W-2 in September, but Kevin can leave his at that point. So where we know basics plus a little extra are covered, and then we can do fun things. Maybe that's new construction. I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe that's investing in a bungalow community in Hawaii. I don't know.
I love
But
it.
I'm just joking. That's not on our actual like vision board. But
Oh, come on.
but if it was and we had the capacity and time to work on it because we were passionate about it, that would be really cool. So that's mine.
Same occupational freedom. She coined that term, and that's what I want to be at. Where a passion project of mine, that I can freely do. Right. Outside of our podcast or video vlog we have on YouTube, I have one with my best friend. We do video movies. Like that's a passion project of mine. I want to be able to do more passion projects and also still do a passion of mine, which is real estate. And it's just that's our goal, 55 doors, but 55 doors is not the stop point. We're going to continue to grow, we have very aggressive goals for this year. We have aggressive goals for next year. The goal is to just maintain and just keep pushing forward. Was that they used to make the old analogy or saying, if you shoot for the moon, if you miss, you'll be amongst the stars. That's kind of how we think about our real estate. We always have a benchmark we want to hit. If you don't hit it, but we go over it, great. But if we're close, we're still in space.
That's good too.
I love that. I like that because mine, everyone talks about the FIRE movement, financially independent, retire early. I like to put a, different spin on it. I think I heard it somewhere else, but financially independent, recreational employment, right? Like you're saying, right?
Ooh,
That's
Right? That
dope.
you just
That's
yeah.
can
dope.
do what you want to do and you do stuff, passion projects. But I love what you folks are doing. I'm glad we got to connect. But before we wrap things up, so where can people find you? Like you said, your YouTube channel and your other side businesses. Where can people reach out to you?
Yes. So you can go to our Facebook page. It's ENK Real Estate Investments. Instagram, ENK Real Estate, and then the Real Estate Brew on YouTube.
Yep, Real Estate Brew at Real Estate Brew on YouTube, all one word. And yeah, if you want to reach out to us for any lending needs for any deals you got coming up, you can always reach out to us at tally at 3acresfunds.com.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. So before we go though, who is the best superhero of all time?
The best superhero of all time. You
Or
got to
your
go with the
favorite?
archetype, huh? My
Oh, okay.
favorite
Yeah, yeah.
or my favorite?
Your
Oh
favorite
man,
then.
Batman all the way, man. I'm a Batman fanatic.
All right.
I mean, since 1989 with Michael Keaton Batman, I've been a fan. So
It was I've never seen someone so excited for when the Batman came out. He was like watching trailers like a year and a half in.
with
If we went
Robert
to see the
Pattinson
movie twice. It's a 3 hour long movie. Imagine going to see that twice
and pregnant.
and pregnant.
I was super excited because I was born '89, right? So that's the year Batman came out with Michael Keaton, and when the Batman with Robert Pattinson came out, my son was being born. So I was like, "That's dope!" Like
It was the universe.
Ah,
it was like it was all designed.
awesome. So you said your other channel or podcast is movies though, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Okay.
yeah.
So what?
My best friend Eric, we got one called the Real Life Review. It's like REEL Life Reviews. We do movie reviews, man, with spoilers. It's just like a little thing. Like we're both like
Ah,
comic book fans and movie lovers, so we just like do like a little video blog we do together all the time.
oh, I gotta check it out. I love that.
Let me know, man.
Very
Give me some feedback, man.
Yeah, see, like recreational employment right there, right? That'll give you
Yeah,
your
man.
all right, yeah. So I love doing this. We'll do this again, and we'll
For
connect.
sure.
And maybe when I get to Pittsburgh, we can hang out.
No, absolutely,
love
man.
that.
We would love that, man. Come see us, man. Take you to a few good spots, man. We'll have a good time.
Cool. Thanks. Thanks for
All
doing
right,
this.
man.
Bye.